This video is about the Fuji 50mm f1, specifically this 50mm f1 that I've now had for a little over 3 years, but it's not a review. If you're wondering whether or not you should buy this for portraits, talking head videos, to use for aesthetic B-roll, or for random hotel lobby photo shoots while you two are waiting for your friends to get ready, that's Victoria, by the way, a friend and fellow YouTuber. You can check out her channel linked in the description below. The answer is you absolutely should. I've got affiliate links in the description below. Thank you for your patronage, and I'll get into the why shortly, but first, I have a gripe. When this lens first came out, people who reviewed it said that they didn't get why Fujifilm would release this when the 56mm 1.2 exists. It was a common theme in one too many reviews. In fact, the thought was so prevalent that it contributed to the lens winning DP Review's Worst Lens of the Year award in 2020.
So the worst lens of 2020, we're actually going to give to the Fujifilm 50mm 1.0. The fact is, appealing to
an insane take for sure, but I forgive Jordan and Chris since alcohol was involved and they were both clearly on the verge of hypothermia while recording that episode. Love you guys. Also, a quick note before I continue, while I'm not one for brand loyalty, being so familiar with the nuanced differences in lenses after shooting on a particular brand for years is a real thing. So later in this video, I'm gonna have my friend who's a non-Fuji shooter and actually a Fuji hater, Sway, give his take on the lens. Be totally honest with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a hater. It's just not a Sony.
That's definitely going in the video.
I'm not a hater, dude.
I'm not here to rag on the 56mm 1.2 either. I used to have it and I loved it. At the time, it rarely came off my X-T3 unless I was double slinging at an event in tight quarters or shooting video. I took my first set of portraits ever using that lens after venturing outside of sports coverage for the first time in my career. A lot could be said about my composition at the time, but I think they came out okay. This was back when I first moved to the DC area and used to ask random people on the street if I could take their portraits before 360 cameras of vertical video was made to take over and ruin our photo apps in the name of corporate ad spend. These photos are of Claudia. She was wrapping up her stint as an au pair when we took these and left to go back home in Mexico a few days later. Girl, if you see this, I hope you're doing well, and let's do a part 2 sometime. The thing that never quite worked out with the 56mm 1.2, and from what I understand is still an issue with the newer iteration, at least on the previous gen cameras, is that it just wasn't great at continuous autofocus, and really struggled to focus in low light. I would shoot a lot of sports, and in the past I had floor access for strength sports, meaning that having a fast prime on my hip was a very real option for me when it came to coverage. Now, I'd occasionally land a decent shot, but too often I'd end up missing focus and just switch back to the very capable, but considerably less bokeh-licious 1655. I'm not even gonna say anything about using the lens for video, just don't, at least not with autofocus. So we've established that the 56mm 1.2 is pretty good at taking portraits, specifically when the subject is just standing there. The Mark II version is also weather sealed, but those 2 points are the only things that the original bokeh blasters have in common with the 50mm f1. About 2 years ago, I opted to sell most of my Fuji gear with the exception of my original X-T3, the 50 f1, and for some reason the 200mm f2, super cool lens. Let me know in the comments if you want a video on that in the future. In order to invest in the Canon R5C and a few lenses in the RF ecosystem after repeatedly running into overheating issues while shooting video, which is my main line of work as a production artist with the X-T3. I was convinced that I was going to completely go over to the RF system, but I wanted to keep my original X-T3 and my favorite portrait lens on that system because of the nostalgia factor. And with it transitioning over to a personal camera, I plan to take it with me pretty much everywhere. About a year later, I genuinely just didn't enjoy the shooting experience on the Canon cameras, and I really didn't enjoy lugging the ridiculously large and heavy lenses around on longer trips, especially if I was hiking. The R5C cameras also aren't weather sealed, and you tend to not notice how often you go out shooting in inclement weather until you have a non-weather sealed camera. That's actually my main gripe with my Ricos, but I'll save that for another video. Eventually, I broke down and I bought an XH2S right before the 3.0 firmware update, and I fell in love with the system all over again. It was about 2 weeks before this shoot, and of course I had to see what the 50 f1 could do on the new body. So let's take a look at it. This is a set I shot with my friend Carolyn a few months ago. The goth girl vibes were pretty strong here, and she was rocking the Tech Druid hoodie from one of her favorite brands. The best part about having friends who are really into making their own clothes and rocking different aesthetics is that they're always down for test shoots. And that's exactly what we decided to do here. So I accidentally left eye autofocus on, something I rarely do on any camera, but especially not my X-T3, since single point autofocus was historically infinitely more reliable due to eye autofocus never really being very good. I took a few shots and just wasn't used to the boxes actually tracking the eyes and the images coming out in focus. Truthfully, I was almost as shocked as the residents of Old Town Alexandria who were wondering what the hell we were doing out there while they were trying to have a nice day with their family. I love bringing an off-camera flash whenever I can, and it was an unseasonably warm day that broke up an otherwise pretty frigid week. So I figured there wouldn't be a crowd of people who would be inconvenienced by my stand and strobe, despite this generally being a pretty high traffic area. All the photos you see here are unedited and straight out of the camera. I forgot who told me this, but editing is the price you pay for bad lighting was a phrase that stuck with me for a long time, despite it obviously being very untrue for a lot of other applications. That might have been what started my preference to bring some kind of off-camera lighting whenever possible, especially when someone is spending time to dress up and commit to a schedule, specifically for when I'm just trying something out, trying to test out a new piece of equipment or make a YouTube video like this one. I mean, if that isn't enough for you to go give Carolyn a follow, I don't know what it is. It was an overcast day in April, and with each shot I came to realize that the X-H2S was the camera that Fuji's monster glass lenses must have been designed for. You see, back when I picked up their 50mm f1 in 2020, it was immediately clear to me that the lens was designed for something much better than the X-T3 it was mounted to at the time. Like, much better. This was also the case with the 200 f2 that I later picked up, and became rather obvious when the linear motor iterations of familiar focal lengths started being released one at a time. It also became clear that the advanced camera was not the X-T4, so I opted to skip that generation despite it being an X-Trans4 sensor body with IBIS. Much like grandparents, I figured I wasn't going to miss what I never had and didn't think anything of it since the output in both photo and video was completely identical to the X-T3's. Back to the shoot, however, I wasn't just happy with the shots, I was elated at the camera's performance. It was on par with the R5C and the 85-1.2 that I've been using on my paid shoots for roughly a year at that point. I still maintain that Fujifilm's autofocus system was never as bad as people made it out to be. Most just never tried adjusting the autofocus settings to their particular shooting style. But this was Fuji's first camera body that had a truly set it and forget it autofocus system like the Canon and Sony bodies have had for years at that point. It was during this shoot that I realized that they finally caught up. It didn't matter if we were in the dark of the tunnel or the woods or out in the daylight. It didn't matter if she was backlit. All the nuanced habits I've built with the X-T3 after 5 years of shooting with it went out the window, and it was like I was shooting on an entirely new system at this point. If you've made it this far into the video, you're probably enjoying it. So smash that like button to pieces and subscribe for future videos, and let me know what you think of my presentation format from this video in the comments below. It's a little new, I want to try it out. Something most cameras, but especially the X-T3 had a problem with in the past was focusing on a subject when there were foreground elements near them. I don't know if it's the eye autofocus or new algorithms that know you're not trying to focus on the dead tree branch but on the goth girl behind it, but whatever it is works and works well. Finishing up under the Jones Point Bridge, the F1, which as you can clearly see is tack sharp when wide open since all of these were shot at F1, showcases that it can become its own light source as well. It's pretty dark under there, but cranking it down there, I didn't really have to do anything with the flash. Flash power on the AD400 was between 1/64th and 1/32nd throughout this entire shoot. And for a few photos down here, I just had it off because the light peeking through was enough to light her evenly at this point in the day. As we were wrapping up our final set, a biker blew past us at 1,000 miles an hour, and the nerves of knowing that she was almost roadkill offered us some new facial expressions at the end of the shoot. Overall, it was a pretty fun day. I'll shoot her a message after this, and maybe we'll get another shoot this year. Let me know what lens you want to see next. So more recently, and definitely not due to procrastination on my end, I opted to give folks a deeper look into what this lens was capable of with natural light, and that's when I got together with Evie, who I met literally 4 minutes before this next shoot. With me again was the X-H2S. We walked around National Landing for a bit, and at the time I was working on trying out a different editing style so you can ignore the colors on these photos. I actually totally forgot about this. I will put an unedited one at the end just for reference. And as you can see, the hit rate was incredibly high, resulting in me spamming shots, which is a bad habit I developed while shooting sports, and it makes the culling process a nightmare, so I really recommend not going that route. We were also shooting in the harsh midday sun, arguably the worst possible lighting to shoot in. This resulted in us looking for some shade and going for a bit of drama in the shots. And right here's the unedited shot I promised, by the way. Clean, right out of camera. Right after shooting with Evie, I took a few with our mutual friend who introduced us, Rebecca. It's always nice to work with a seasoned model because they have their own pose flow and they help you come up with ideas on the spot. I gave her minimal direction here, and this let me focus on a few different compositions at different distances to see how sticky the autofocus was. I haven't had a chance to shoot casually in a while, and considering that all my Fuji gear is now my personal gear, I was a little rusty that day, but we picked up pretty quickly. Look out to the side like you were prior. There we go. We decided to cross the street after spotting a mural to see what could be done there, and after posing in traffic for a bit, I put her up against the mural for a few shots, and overall, the lens clearly performed. Now, there's no real question that this lens is great. It was great on my X-T3, and it seemed like it was made for the XH2S. Is it twice as good as the 56-1.2? That's half the price. For me, it's an easy yes, but I did have to get an unbiased input from one of my non-Fuji friends, and I'm gonna step behind the camera for a bit here and let him take it away.
I'm Sway. This is a Fuji. This thing sucks. It's heavy. I'm not as strong as Omar behind the camera, but here we are. No, all bullshit aside, I'm working with a 75 f1. That's unheard of.
It's a 50 f1, but 75 full frame equivalent.
This is like a micro four thirds camera?
It says APS-C.
Ew. Why would you put that in my hands, man?
You're a Sony shooter, right?
Yeah, I am. A7 IV game, baby, full frame. Anyway, talking shit. I'm with Noelle right now, ukulele player. I know she plays way more instruments than that, you know what I'm saying? Got the vibe. Checking out the camera. So with, let's see, a quick little portrait in here. F1, yeah, that's pretty milky in there. I'm not gonna lie to you. Heavy's a little, the rig is a little front end heavy, but it's real fast. It's real quiet. Look at that smile. You got it going on. There it is. Good stuff. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, we're here checking out the camera today. Omar got this crazy rig. Your 360 camera will show you what he's working with, but what I'm working with is something crazy. On to the next portrait. I love it when a photographer turns into a model. Let me see what you're working with, Fred. Let me get this side of you though, because I like that depth of field going on.
Oh, I kind of like when you had your hand like that.
Do that again, yeah. Hold on. Do that again, do that again.
Oh my God.
That's that thinking man right there. He's thinking about that 401k minimum distribution coming out soon. Look at this little street meat profile picture. This is, unfortunately, this is a crop sensor, and it's a Fuji.
Talking so much.
I'm letting you know, like, this isn't full frame. This is not my camera either. We trying to be friends out here. Hold on a second, let's see. More like belly button up, because I'm over here. Belly button, yeah, suck it in.
You recording video through the animal?
Yeah. Yeah, the EVF.
What I do like about this is the F1 on the lens. I'll say that much. I'm shooting primarily wide open. Automatic ISO.
Why else does anyone buy fast lenses? We always shoot wide open. That's why you get a fast lens.
Yeah, this is something else. I turned it off just now, but this is something else. Like,
how do you feel about the autofocus and stuff on it so far?
Fast
Good?
and quiet.
Be totally honest with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a hater. It's just not a Sony.
That's definitely going in the video.
I'm not a hater, dude. Hold on, so let's see what we got going on here.
What's up, man?
Angela, look hard left. Thank you. We got people out here, the whole setup. Bernie, say hi. Okay, look at that. Look like Michael Jackson with his hat low. Also, can we talk about the cage you have on this thing? That's what I'm liking about it. Because I know for a fact that if I had to hold the body by itself, sans all this cabling and all that, I may not enjoy it as much. The cage allows me to hold it like I'm meant to, like a Sony. It makes me feel like I'm holding a Sony.
You're gonna get so much hate in the comments.
That's for you. If you a Fuji head ass, good for you. I'm a Sony head ass. Come hang out with me anyway at a street meet DC, October 29th. If this even comes out by then.
I'll have that clip out to you by then. This guy talking a lot of shit, man.
Also, forget the D-backs. They should have never won that World Series in 2001. That was a Yankees World Series.
I don't know nothing.
So why are you? Nah, fuck.
I just go here.
Follow Photos by Zeus. Make sure you follow. Yeah, he be traveling low key. He doesn't let nobody know that he's actually doing cool stuff, but he's doing cool stuff. I'm sorry, I'm gonna make you edit like shit.
No, because it's just gonna end up being a
shit,
compilation.
there's a whole nother mural back here.
The world is yours.
Yeah, where the fuck is Scarface? Hey, Lima, can I get your right arm doing something like that? That's your left arm.
Listen, I was listening really good. Listen, I don't want to hear it.
My bad. Sorry. Thanks for coming though. There it is. Phenomenal. Thank you so much. Let's see. Let's play back. Let's take a look here. Everything at F1. Okay. Yes, Lima's a consummate professional. She kills it.
Any complaints about the image quality? Your
Not
thoughts
at
on
all.
that?
It's sharp. It's super sharp. Like look how clean this is. Like even you can see this, right?
The screen or?
It's combination, right? I guess the playback screen is real nice. You see, like I haven't caught you just lacking. You know what I'm saying? You're on the phone handling business. Were you standing on business on that phone call? I hope so. Damn, he got a picture of me, motherfucker. Do you have a Sony converter for this lens? Do you?
It probably exists, but probably not ideal for APS-C. So
No,
your
but this
thoughts
is great.
overall as a non-Fuji shooter? You actually picked it up real quickly, the camera, so that's pretty cool.
It looks like a film camera sometimes.
But it's not all rigged
my
up. right?
ISO ASA dial, my shutter dial. Nah, this is clean. What I'm really impressed with is that do you have a profile on their camera right now?
That's a stock profile.
This is a stock profile.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice because I will say the color saturation, the color clarity, it's really nice. But I'm really a fan of just the lens more than anything. These images are sharp, especially with like multiple subjects. Like I'm looking at an image. I have a photographer taking a photo of a prism, but I have the background model out of focus, foreground photographer out of focus, and the subject in the middle between all three, crystal clear. It isn't like guessing between the lens on what to focus on. So shout out to the autofocus system. Also the camera and the lens talking to each other is really nice. But I will say my favorite photo is this last photo of Lima with the corner and just the ability that it even creates some out of focus of the wall that she's leaning up against because it focuses on her face. The eye detection, good job Fuji. Make me affordable Fuji medium format for me. That'd be nice. And also sponsor it. How about that? I want to spend $8 grand on your cameras. But no, this is a good stuff. I would say as a not a Fuji shooter, this is a nice camera. You know, what is this one? The XT5?
Well, basically, so it's not even like a sales call that I'm trying to do.
No, I know, but still.
It's more like, so this camera, this lens was actually shit on when it came out. People said they didn't see the point of it.
The F1?
Like reviewers and stuff, like they said they have essentially the 56-1.2. But you see like how quick it focuses and stuff. Like
It could definitely make a GM Sony, or one of them G Masters from Sony look a little weak. This should make me want to steal it from Omar, I'll tell you that. Bye.
Well, there you have it. The 50F1 gets the approval of a certified hater and even worse, a Sony shooter. The value proposition of the XT5 and 50F1 combo in particular is pretty high compared to other brands as well, but I'll save that for a future video. While you're throwing your 2 cents in the comments, check out this other video that I wish someone from Fuji would watch to fix the only issue I have with the 200F2. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.